Ravers Mead. I have Nellie here with me today as my glamorous assistant, and we are going to be giving you a step-by-step guide on how to clip a horse. Before we get started with the clipping, I have a really quick checklist I want to go over with you guys. A few things you need to make sure you have to hand before you start clipping your horse. First one is the most obvious. You need to have your clippers ready. They need to be assembled correctly with fresh, sharp blades. You need to make sure that they're tensioned correctly for the make and model of clipper that you have. And you also need to make sure that you have an adequate power source available nearby, whether that be a power outlet if you're using mains powered clippers, or a fully charged battery if you're using battery operated clippers. The second thing you're going to need is your clipper oil. Very important, you're going to be using this a lot. You are going to need a set of clothes that you really don't care too much about. Clipping is a dirty job. You're going to get hair everywhere. You're going to get hair in the unholiest of places. Believe me, it happens. So you need to be prepared to sacrifice whatever clothes you're wearing, because they will never be comfortable again after this. One final thing you're going to need, this is completely optional depending on how brave you're feeling, is some chalk or some kind of pen that washes off easily, or some makeup. This is going to be used to draw the lines on your horse so that when you clip you have a rough guide to follow. Now, I don't tend to do this, I tend to just eyeball it and go for it. However, if you're a little bit nervous and you want to make sure that you get your lines perfect, I would highly recommend that you draw them on before you clip them, because once you've clipped them, you're going to have to wait 6 weeks in order for the hair to grow out before you can fix them again. The last thing you're going to need is a clean horse. Now, preferably you would want to bath your horse the day before you clip to make sure that there's no grease and grime in their coats. However, I tend not to. I'm a bit lazy, I'll be honest about that. I will just give my horses a really good brush before I clip them, and in order to check that they are clean enough to clip, I will run my hand over the horse, and if I see any white stuff on my hand, I need to give them another brush. If my hand is pretty much clean, then we're good to clip. Okay, so that's our quick checklist done. Now we are ready to start clipping. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is connect your clippers up to their power source, give them a quick oiling and test them to make sure they're working. Okay, so I have my clippers, I have my clean horse, we're all connected and we're ready to go. So the first thing I like to do when I'm clipping is I like to clip out my leg lines. The reason I like to do this first is because it's the least favourite part for me, and I like to get it done and out of the way early. Generally speaking, clipping the bulkier body parts, so everything in this kind of area, all over here, anything that you've got a good smooth area, those are going to be the easiest bits to clip. The trickier bits to clip are going to be anywhere where you've got creases, for example in the armpits or around the groin area. Anywhere where the hair changes direction, they're going to be a bit more tricky to clip as well. And anywhere that's just generally hard to reach. So when you actually clip your horse, you want to clip against the grain. So if you look at Nellie's coat here, her coat is lying this way. The coat is going in this direction. If we were to look up here, the coat is going in this direction. See, you can see how the hairs are lying. Now you want to cut against the grain. This is going to give you a really close cut and a neat finish. If you cut in any other direction, it's not going to be uniform and it's not going to look as smart. So that's the first point, always clip against the grain. Now the second point I want to make before we start is to make sure that you overlap your clip lines. Now you'll see what I mean by that in a few seconds when I start, but basically you're going to clip a line, so you're clipping a line here. Now when I do my next line, I'm going to overlap my clipper blades, so I clip halfway over that first line again. Now this is going to ensure that you don't get tram lines. Now I've seen so many people do this, they try to line it up so that they do a clip line and then another clip line. They try to line it up perfectly against the edge, and you always end up missing that tiny bit of hair and you get a tram line. And once they're there, they can be notoriously tricky to get rid of. So to avoid that, you just overlap your clip lines as you go. Okay, let's get started with my leg lines and then we will go into some body clipping shortly afterwards. So this is a bit of a cheat for me because I can see Nellie's leg lines from when I last clipped her. So you can see just here, that's the line I'm going to follow. Now, different people will follow different lines. It's entirely down to personal preference. I like to follow the line of the muscle. Some people like to do them a bit lower. Some people will even do them in straight lines. It all depends on what you like and what looks good on your horse. Now, the trick to getting a neat line is to do it all in one go, without taking the blades off, if you can. It's not such a big deal if you can't do it without taking the blades off, but you will get a much neater, crisper line if you can do it all in one sweep. Okay, so you can see there that I've taken a really long line all the way up her neck. Now, this is another great tip. To get a neater clip, you want to do as few strokes as possible. Same principle as doing the line on the leg. It's just going to look a lot neater. You're going to have a lot less tram lines, a lot less teeth marks. So, long swooping motions without taking the clippers off are preferable here. And again, you want to make sure that you're going against the grain all the way up. And you're going to have to be mindful when you get to places like this that you change the direction of your clippers as you're going in order to keep following that grain. So that gives you a little idea of what we're doing. Quick demonstration there. Now, I'm just going to rinse and repeat. I'm going to go around her whole body. I'm going to do leg lines first, and then I'm going to work my way up in big stroking long motions until she is fully clipped. Now, the other thing I want to go over quickly is the main line. So I purposely left this here for now. Now, this again is kind of down to preference and discretion of the owner. Now, I do not like to clip my horses too close up their main line. What you need to be mindful of is that your horse's mane actually starts about here. So I personally don't clip any higher than about there, because by going any higher than that, you run the risk of actually chopping off the top part of your horse's mane, which is not what we want to achieve. We want to leave the mane. Now, some people will cut it quite low and then they will blend it. I'm not a fan of that, just because blending takes a really long time, and actually I don't mind having a crisp crest line on my horses. I think it looks quite attractive. So I am going to clip, hello madam, can I help you? I'm going to clip Nellie's main line about here, and again you want to do it in one long swooping motion so that it's a nice clean crisp line. Common problems, tram lines and teeth marks. Now, tram lines we've already briefly covered. Teeth marks, generally speaking, are a result of trying to clip a dirty horse. So if you're having a problem with teeth marks showing up everywhere, it's probably worth stopping, giving your horse a really good groom, and then carrying on and seeing if it's improved. Now, neither of these problems are a big deal, really. Hello, sweet pea. Hi. They will right themselves within a few weeks after clipping. So as the horse's hair grows, the tram lines, the teeth marks, they are going to blend in naturally. So if you do have a few marks that you're not happy with, don't panic, because it will blend in a very short space of time. Now, if you can hear or feel that your clippers are starting to struggle, you'll hear the sound of the motor change. You need to stop and oil them. You also need to check that they're not overheating. You'll know if they're overheating because the blades will become unbearably hot to touch. If any of that happens, you just need to switch them off for a little while, brush all of the dirt off, oil them, give them 5 to 10 minutes to rest, to cool down, and then you can carry on again. Give her a quick brush off now, get all of the loose hair off, and we're going to have an assessment and see how good or how bad of a job we've done. If you found that you have some lines or some little tufts that you've missed, really simple solution to that is you just go over at the end of your clip and just keep going over them with the blades flat, and just keep going over it and over it and over it until those tufty bits and those lines are blended out. Now, if you get to the end of your clip and you look at it and you think, oh my goodness, this is a disaster, I wish I hadn't done this, don't worry about it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's hair. It will grow back surprisingly quickly, actually. So, excuse me for hiccups. So if you screw up, don't panic. It's going to grow back in a month or two, and then you can have another go. So I'm actually going to leave Nellie's head on for this clip, so I just want to show you real quickly how I go about doing a neat line from the neck to the head. So I basically follow, oh don't be a grumpy girl, I basically follow the jawline here. So I will take it up behind the ears and I will follow this line of the jaw all the way around. So you've got that nice curve there. Okay guys, we are all done. So I was unfortunately unable to get any good footage doing her armpits for you. My trimmers, they basically have a wiring fault which can make them a little bit temperamental, and they decided to kick off while I was doing that down there, so I just turned the camera off and did what I had to do to get it done. But the basic principle is that you take the horse's leg like so and you pull it forward. Like I said, either put it on a block or have a friend hold it, and then that opens up the whole armpit area so you can get in there and give it a really good clip. Yeah, so there we go. That is our little step-by-step guide to clipping a horse. Nellie New here now needs another really good brush because we still have lots of hair on her, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to get a nice thick rug on her. At this point you can, if you want, give your horse another bath. Some people also like to hot cloth them with a little oil just to help settle their skin down and get all those little itchy bits off. That is entirely up to you where you go with that from this point on. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I hope this was helpful for someone. If anyone has any questions relating to clipping, please put them in the comment section down below. And yeah, I'll see you in our next video. Bye!